Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Gopika Malaba Kirpadhari Jaya Gopika Malaba Kirpadhari Gopi Jalaba Laba Kirpadhari Yashoda Brajanara Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jalaba Gopi Jalaba Kirpadhari Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll go to the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 18, text 11. Yasangalabdam nijabirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam. Yat sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam. Yat sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam.
Sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam.
Sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam. Sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam. Tirtam mahu samsprishatam himanasam. Haratya jonta shruti birgatongajam. Kovaina seveta mukunda vikramam.
Vaishnavis.
Tirtam
Yet of whom the devotees Sangha Labdam, achieved by the association Nijavirya Vaibhavam, whose influence is uncommon. Tirtham, holy places like the Ganges. Muhu, repeatedly. Samsprishatam, of those touching. He, certainly. Manasam, the dirty things in the mind. Harati, vanquishes. Aja, the supreme unborn one. Anta, in the core of the heart. Shrutibi, by the ears. Gata, entered. Angajam, dirty things, or infections of the body. Ka, who, vai, indeed, na, not. Seveta, would serve. Mukunda Vikramam, the glorious activities of Mukunda, the Supreme Personality of God. Translation. It's a long translation packed with significance. By associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, is the all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them. The activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, in the form of sound vibrations, enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in the Ganges diminishes bodily contaminations and infections, this process and the process of visiting holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? Purport. That's an extensive purport. But we'll hear it all, right? Bathing in the Ganges can certainly cure one of many infectious diseases, but it cannot cleanse one's materially attached mind, which creates all kinds of contaminations in material existence. However, one who directly associates with the Supreme Lord by hearing of his activities cleanses the dirt from his mind and very soon comes to Krishna consciousness. Sutta Goswami confirms this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srinvatam Sukata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hivajrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. The Supreme Lord within everyone's heart becomes very pleased when a person hears narrations of his activities, and he personally cleanses the dirt from the mind of the listener. Hridyantastohya bhadrani vidunoti. He washes off all the dirt from the mind. Material existence is caused by dirty things within the mind. If one can cleanse his mind, he immediately comes to his original position of Krishna consciousness, and thus his life becomes successful. Therefore, all the great saints in the devotional line very strongly recommend the process of hearing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra to give everyone a chance to hear Krishna's holy name. For simply by hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one becomes purified. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Therefore, our Krishna consciousness movement is chiefly engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra all over the world. After one's mind becomes cleansed by chanting Hare Krishna, one gradually comes to the platform of Krishna consciousness and then reads books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the Nectar of Devotion. In this way, one becomes more and more purified of material contamination. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Nasta Praesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. In this way, simply by hearing of the powerful activities of the Lord, the devotee's heart becomes almost completely cleansed of material contamination, and thus his original position as an eternal servant who is part and parcel of the Lord becomes manifest. While the devotee engages in devotional service, the passionate and ignorant modes of material nature are gradually vanquished. And then he acts only in the mode of goodness. At that time, he becomes happy and gradually advances in Krishna consciousness. All the great acharyas strongly recommend that people be given a chance to hear about the Supreme Lord. Then success is assured. The more we cleanse the dirt of material attachment from our hearts, the more we will be attracted by Krishna's name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and activities. This is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. Translation again. By associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, is the all-in-all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them. The activities of Mukunda are so potent that by simply hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibrations, enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in the Ganges diminishes bodily contaminations and infections, this process and the process of visiting holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? Om Jnana Chivilandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have gathered here this evening just to hear about Krishna and talk about Krishna. You may be thinking, how is this really going to affect your practical life? But your so-called practical life is full of goals and objectives that are, in conditioned life, totally unrealistic. So the question is, why is it we pursue such unrealistic goals? It's because of the impurities in the mind, which drive us onward. The whole Vedic plan is about how to purify the mind, how to purify the consciousness. So there are different recommendations for purification. But the whole culture, real human culture, is about purifying the mind and senses. And there are different ways to do that. You can execute good karma, but that just temporarily or very slightly subdues the dirty things in the heart. Because you still are afflicted by the desire to be the material enjoyer. It's just you've wised up and realized to play the game by the rules. Good karma instead of vikarma, criminal activities, in terms of considering everything is mine for my pleasure. From the viewpoint of the Shastra, that's considered criminal. Just like if you own something and someone walks by and grabs it saying, it's mine, you know it's wrong. But here we are living amidst so many energies, and we never consider who is the proprietor of those energies. Therefore, criminal activity. So the Vedic system offers you one method to reduce the criminal acts and their consequences by performing pious activity. But that punya, that pious activity, performing good karma, doesn't cleanse the desire to materially enjoy and falsely claim, this is mine, this is for me. You know, in the 6th canto, Parikshit Maharaj compares such a pious purification process as an elephant bath. An elephant covered with dirt and mud from the jungle enters into a water and bathes thoroughly, and then comes out of the water fresh and clean, and then rolls in the dust on the bank of the river. So Parikshit Maharaj considered that to be useless. And then there's Jnanamar, the path of metaphysical speculation. There must be an all-pervading spiritual energy that is permanent and eternal, as contrasted to the temporary appearance of the material world. So let me meditate on that all-pervading oneness. So Parikshit Maharaj compares that to a bamboo tree, and you are cutting off the branches and leaves of the bamboo tree, but you never get to the root. You don't uproot the bamboo tree. So Parikshit Maharaj rejected that. You see, Shukadeva Goswami was presenting various options, because Parikshit Maharaj had heard about the hellish planetary systems in the previous chapter. And so he was appealing to Shukadeva Goswami If you can explain about the hellish planetary systems and hellish destinations, you can explain how to get out of such a fate, how to avoid such a fate. So therefore, Pritchard Maharaj is questioning Shukadeva Goswami. Well, how do you do it? Because during your life, you are committing so many criminal activities in the name of enjoyment, in the name of being a nice person, in the name of making money. So much bad karma you're piling up. So Pritchard Maharaj is concerned. How does a person cope with that? Even unintentionally, you're committing bad karma. You just assume. Human beings assume. We're in this world. We are humans. We have a right to trample everywhere and exploit nature for our enjoyment. What's wrong with that? They don't understand. They're binding themselves in karmic reactions. Pritchard Maharaj knows that. So what to do? So Shukadeva Goswami first replies. You counteract a bad karma with a good karma. But Pritchard Maharaj wisely rejects that. No, that won't do it. There's still an underlying problem of wanting to control and enjoy, which will just get me into trouble again and again. I may purify myself partially by good karma, but the disease has not been touched. So I'll get in trouble again. So Pritchard Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami offers Gyanamar, meditate on Brahman. Spend your life trying to distinguish neti, this is temporary, this is eternal. Yes, that's a step up from being trapped in karmic activities, whether good or bad, but it still doesn't, the Gyanamar, the metaphysical speculation, it doesn't purify the heart sufficiently. It can rid yourself of the leaves of the bamboo plant, but it doesn't get to the roots. So Pritchard Maharaj rejected that. No, that's not going to do it. And then Shukadeva Goswami, who's testing Pritchard Maharaj for our benefit. This dialogue is for our benefit. Then Shukadeva Goswami comes out with Bhakti, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya, Vasudeva Prayana. Bhakti uproots the whole weed of the tendency to commit material activities. So in a real human civilization, there's discussion about what's the best way of purification. But just think, as you were growing up, you never had the anxiety, how am I going to purify myself? And no, you were just thinking, how am I going to feel good? I was explaining in our program Thursday. I was surprised so many persons came. A shout out to the organizing team. I explained to them the different phases of life that they're going through. When you're a teenager and the hormones are raging, what do you want to do? You want to feel good. And the magic word is awesome. Anything to feel good. Sensuality, intoxication, entertainment. And then late in your 20s, you start to change. And you start to think, I want to do good. I want to help the environment, help society, help the animals. Then, later in your 30s and 40s, you start thinking, I want to be good. I've been running around, chasing this and chasing that, trying to do good. But what about me? I want to be good. Then you get into your 60s and 70s, and you realize, I don't even know what good is. But it's too late. Just get old and die. So I presented to them that the real issue is, what is life good for? Not, I want to feel good, I want to do good, I want to be good. But what is life good for? So they were puzzled. Yeah, what is life good for? So in a real human civilization, there are methods of purification available for the people. Take your pick. The path of karmic activity, balancing the good karma and the bad karma. The path of jnana, meditating on the all-pervading oneness and considering yourself to be that oneness. Of course, you could be a mystic yogi trying to develop mystic powers. But the real goal of mystic yoga, jnana yoga, is to meditate on the Paramatma, the supersoul in the heart. And then there's Bhakti, the culmination of all purification. So we should know what a real human society is all about. A real human culture presents different methods of purification. But as you know, how many persons have you met that are in anxiety about how am I going to be purified? How many of you thought that, whether you're from India or not? What am I going to do about self-purification? We live in a consumer society, and the emphasis is on how can you be part of production to make money, and how can you consume by spending money. And that is the measure of your human life. So even though we're not practicing karmic activity, mystic yoga, or metaphysical speculation, we should know about these different systems because they are part of a real human civilization. And understanding them, you can also understand we don't have a real human civilization. Without these various avenues of purification, you don't have a real human society. You say, what do you mean? There's so much economic development going on. Production, consumption, electronics, digital, artificial intelligence, nuclear weapons. Isn't that all human? No. So people are shocked to hear that. You would also be a little doubtful. Well, is it really that bad? But you have to know what is the real purpose of human culture. Purification. Purify the mind and senses. Purify the consciousness. Many people don't even know what is consciousness in terms of whether they have some speculative theory about it or not. They don't think about it. Consciousness? What is that? You turn to Bhagavad Gita and Krishna explains that which pervades the whole body is consciousness, the energy of the spirit soul, the Atma. So the tiny particle of spiritual consciousness, the Atma, radiates consciousness, and the complete whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, radiates infinite consciousness. So we're presenting to people that you cannot reduce consciousness or life to matter. As I was explaining to Maggie yesterday. No one can ever demonstrate life and consciousness come from matter. But they make you assume that's true, because if you don't assume that, uh-oh, it leaves the door wide open for the non-material. So even though there's no proof ever in any laboratory, no one has seen matter produce life. No one has seen matter produce consciousness. But if you're a physicalist or materialistic scientist, you must think that way, because to acknowledge that there's something non-material is against your religion. But as Srila Prabhupada would always point out, everywhere you can see life producing life. But where do you see, who has ever seen in a laboratory or wherever, who has ever seen matter producing life and consciousness coming from matter? So try to understand, if you are a physicalist, a materialist, you have to think that way, even though there's no evidence, because to dare to admit that consciousness is the symptom of the non-material self, oh no. So in a real human society, the concern is how to purify consciousness. Am I going to do it this way, that way, that way, that way? So this verse is pointing out that some ways are very roundabout. Bathing in the Ganga, if you live in India, on the bank of the Ganga, if you live there, you can constantly bathe in the Ganga. And yes, you'll reduce the impurities in your consciousness. And the verse points out that it's good for your health. But it'll take such a long time for you to get the full purification that you need. Whereas hearing about Krishna in the association of devotees is the expressway path for solving the problem of purification. So therefore we heard in the translation, the need to associate with persons for whom Krishna is the everything. When you hear about Krishna in that kind of association, your spiritual purification accelerates. When you associate with persons for whom Krishna is everything. And very soon you'll be able to understand about Krishna's activities. So as we heard in the translation, the activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears narrations of the Lord's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibrations, enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. So the sound vibration of Krishna's activities does it to you. Sometimes it seems so directly clear that we think, oh no, it's got to be more than that. But the whole purpose of this building, at least our part of the building, the whole purpose is to provide a place that we can gather and hear and talk about Krishna. That's the whole purpose of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Otherwise, institutions, there's so many institutions in this world, but this institution is for bringing people together to hear and talk about Krishna, to hear authorized sound vibration, presenting Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes, to provide a gathering place where people can come and just talk about Krishna and hear about Krishna. Once Srila Prabhupada said that he's invented all the activities of ISKCON just so that people will start chanting Hare Krishna. So in terms of how you manage your life, it's up to you to always maintain the number one priority of hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna. When that priority disappears or gets way down on the list of your life priorities, then there are problems, and that's when devotees start wondering, I don't have a taste anymore. I'm too busy for devotional service. The material energy is so expert at putting so many priorities in front of you. You gotta do this, then you gotta do that, and then that, and then that. And what do you tell yourself? Well, let me just do this one thing, right? And then I'll get back to my spiritual practices. Let me just do this one thing. And you do that one thing, and what happens? Oh, let me just do this other thing. And on it goes. Before you know it, your whole day is gone. So it takes a determined effort to keep our priorities straight. Sometimes we get tired of making that determined effort. You think, why doesn't it just all come to me easy? Why do I have to push to arrange my life, to hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna? Why do I have to push? But to do anything in this world, material or spiritual, requires some exertion, some determination. Otherwise, you could say, well, why do I go to work? Why do I talk to my partner? Why do I tolerate this? Why do I tolerate that? It takes an exerted effort. So why not find out what's the best thing to exert energy for? So if you have to exert some energy, you have to push a bit to arrange your life so you can hear and chant about Krishna. That is the best use of your human form of life. And in that way, Krishna comes to you through your ear. Now you may say, well, I've been chanting for a while. I've been reading a bit here and there. But why is it that I have these troublesome things still in my mind? You should remember the section of Chaitanya Charitamrita about the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of the creeper of Bhakti, which grows by hearing and chanting. But remember, farmers and gardeners will know that when you water your bed of veggies or flowers, you're also watering the weeds. So you have to be careful to weed your garden. Similarly, in growing the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of Bhakti, there can be weeds growing up alongside it. So the gardener has to be expert. That's not a veggie, that's a weed. And uproot it. You may want to get prestige for your spirituality. Appreciation from the masses. He's a spiritual person. Om Shanti. Or you may remain attached to bodily gratification. That's a weed. Or you may abuse others. If you can abuse the holy name by offensive chanting, what's the problem with abusing others? The abuse starts with Krishna. So sometimes there's that wonder, why? I've been fingering my beads. I've been opening a book from time to time. Why do I feel like I'm not making any spiritual advancement? We have to look at our priorities and analyze the quality of our hearing and chanting about Krishna. A little bit of quality produces a little result. A major emphasis on quality produces a big result. And it takes some time. Not much time at all. Our life is so short. But we think, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. There's nothing. So an intelligent person is concerned. How do I purify my consciousness? I've got so many dirty things in the heart. What to do about that? Imprints from past karma. See, what happens is gradually the disturbances in your heart calm down, but there's an echo still there due to your past karmic activities. So you have to keep on. Not that, oh, the major monsters are all subdued. Now I can relax. There's still the echoes from past karmic activities. So you have to continue with the hearing and chanting process, because you know the goal of your human life is to purify your consciousness so that your original Krishna consciousness returns. So we have a very instructive purport. One who directly associates with the Supreme Lord by hearing of his activities cleanses the dirt from his mind and very soon comes to Krishna consciousness. So this was Srila Prabhupada's scientific bedrock upon landing in New York. He quoted that verse from Bhagavatam, which is quoted also in this purport. Srinvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Hridyantas Vadrani Vidunoti Sahitsatam. When you hear about Krishna, the Supersoul in your heart becomes pleased. Because we're tiny particles of Krishna, we can see we have that tendency in our material consciousness. What if you're walking past a room and you overhear someone talking nice about you? How do you feel? Oh, this is wonderful. Someone has finally acknowledged my greatness. It's happened to everyone, yes? You walk, they didn't know you were coming. They weren't aware you were there. And you walk by and you hear, you know, so-and-so is so nice. Amazing. Ah, you feel so good. You're pleased, right? Just like I was talking to Rudraram Pandit. He was telling me how grateful he is for his wife taking nice care of him when he was hospitalized. So I said, well, why don't you tell her that? Anyway, when I walked by her yesterday evening, I said, your husband's been glorifying you. Of course she was happy to hear that. So we have these tendencies because we are part of Krishna, and Krishna has this unlimitedly. So when Krishna hears that you are hearing about his activities, he feels unlimitedly, infinitely pleased, and reciprocates with you. How does he reciprocate with you? By cleansing the dirt from your core being. Hridyantastohya bhadrani vidunoti. He washes off all the dirt from the mind. Material existence is caused by dirty things within the mind. I am the enjoyer. I am the controller. It's amazing. We failed lifetime after lifetime in pursuing those two objectives. Still we go on. It's amazing. You can catch yourself. Just tell yourself, you're nuts. You've done this before, lifetime after lifetime, and you're still thinking about it? You still think you're going to be happy this way? Madness. Someone is reputed to have said, maybe it was Einstein or whatever, Madness is when you make this, you do the same thing again and again that's brought you distress, but you still do it, expecting a different result. This is madness. This is the story of conditioned life. You do the life after life, you do the same thing again and again, but think, this time will be different. So once again, we're back to that fundamental point about my life is meant for purification. But no, my life is meant for feeling good. And my life is meant for enjoying my senses, doing what I want to do. I think we may discuss this tomorrow at the Soul Feast. Follow your bliss. What does that mean? I may put a statement on the screen. Follow your bliss, and the universe will turn walls into openings for you. This used to be, people still think that way, but especially in the 90s when I first came to New Zealand, it was the rage of the whole country. Magical thinking. The law of attraction. Any of you remember that? Yeah? It was big. You start meditating on strawberry ice cream, and then someone walks by you on the street. Wouldn't you like some strawberry ice cream? Magical thinking. The law of attraction. If you want to be rich, think about being rich. Obviously didn't happen for but people tried it. They used to come to our loft fully surcharged with conviction. All I have to do is think about something and it comes. But what is it that we want? What are our objectives? They're dirt in the consciousness. Actually, the truth is, the non-sectarian, non-fanatical truth is that anything except the desire for Krishna's service is a dirty thing in the heart. So we always have to take inventory of what's going on in our heart. How to take care of that mess in the heart? We hear. Therefore, all the great saints in the devotional line very strongly recommend the process of hearing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra to give everyone a chance to hear Krishna's holy name. So, this is the whole purpose of our center here. This is the whole purpose of the whole setup. This is the purpose of all Krishna's places around the world. To give a place where people can hear about Krishna sooner or later. So maybe you'll come on a night when there's just yoga, but you're helping to pay for other nights for people to come and talk about Krishna. Maybe you're coming for this reason or that reason. But sooner or later, you take an interest. I wonder what's going on those other nights. So we always need devotees who will teach the science of Krishna. We can't forget that. Whether indirect or direct, all our endeavors focus on people hearing about Krishna. And you yourself have to hear about Krishna. So we need devotees who have firm conviction in Krishna Katha, talking about Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. You heard last night Prabhupada's bedrock conviction. This can do it. It's impossible with these people, but by hearing about Krishna, the impossible can happen. So on the one hand, he was saying, impossible. How to break through to these people. On the other hand, he was saying, yet, hearing about Krishna is so potent, it can do the impossible. So following in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps, we're always wrestling with these points. How will these people ever understand? Giving them every opportunity. Giving them devastating prasad. We have so many books. Kirtan. Association with such angelic, paradisical beings. What more do they want? You see the ignorance just so starkly in front of your eyes. They don't know anything. They don't want to know anything. Feel like sometimes you feel like you want to shake them. Hey, will you wake up? Then we remember what we were like, and we become more soft-hearted. So all success comes through the sound vibration of talking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna. Param Vijayate, the supreme victory, Sri Krishna Sankirtana. Sankirtana means congregational, coming together for glorifying Krishna. So we have a mission. The mission begins with purification. And it culminates in reviving our love for Krishna. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, therefore, our Krishna conscious movement is chiefly engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra all over the world. Now I've noticed, as some of our devotees get older, their japa becomes very weak. It happens all over the world. Because what's happening is you're losing contact with that essential importance, the number one priority of chanting Hare Krishna. Unconsciously, this is what's going on. Well, it's so simple. Can it really solve all my practical problems? I'm surrounded by the intricacies of living in this world. Gotta pay the rent, gotta pay the mortgage, babies are screaming, husband's insensitive, wife wants to do her own thing. And chanting Hare Krishna? Unconsciously, that mentality creeps in slowly. Late at night, while you're sleeping, it comes creeping under the door. First, you just think, well, you gotta do it because you gotta do it. Otherwise, everyone in the devotional community will think you're in Maya. You don't want them to think that. So you grind out those rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hey, look at your watch. Hey. Oh, my phone is ringing. Great! I got the distraction each eye. So I can sympathize with, believe it or not, I can sympathize with devotees who gradually lose touch with their attraction for chanting. Because amidst the complexities of life today, chanting Hare Krishna seems so simple, doesn't it? You just say 3 words over and over again. What about the economy? What about the politics? What about social media? What about entertainment? And then Hare Krishna. Now, we all admit saying Hare Krishna is good for greeting someone. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That must be like. Right? Haribol! You see a devotee walking on the other side of the street. Haribol! Haribol means chant Hare Krishna. But you turned it just into a greeting. And then we want our little kids to chant Hare Krishna. Say Hare Krishna. What if the kid asks you, what about you? Do you chant your own? Fortunately for you, the kids can't ask that question. So the simplicity, the apparent simplicity of chanting Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra, sometimes we become bewildered by that unconsciously. It's just too simple, right? Oh, I've been doing it for 10 years. I did it in the ashram. I did it for a few years after the ashram. Now I'm on my own. What do you want from me? Life is intricate, life's complicated. I married, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. It's so complicated. And then on top of that, you want me to chant Hare Krishna. Come on, give me a break. I got work, boss, bills to pay, mortgage to pay, car to keep running. And you want me to chant Hare Krishna. I do. When I see a devotee, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. So where our neck beats. So I can sympathize. When you look at the situation materially, that's what you'll see. But how to prevent yourself from looking at the situation materially? That's why hearing Bhagavatam is so important. Simply by hearing of the powerful activities of the Lord, the devotee's heart becomes almost completely cleansed of material contamination. So what does that mean, almost completely cleansed? Because even in the stage of bhava, there's a slight trace of material contamination, a very slight, very distant echo. But you've got, at that stage, you've turned the corner completely. It's just a matter of time before the echo goes away. But still, even in the stage from anarjana vritti, ridding yourself of unwanted activities, to the stage of ruchi, there's taste. So yes, we emphasize following the four regular principles, but even in that stage of anarjana vritti, getting rid of the unwanted activities, getting rid of the unwanted motives and desires, there's a taste, a fragrance of pure bhakti. Even in the very beginning of your bhakti, you're getting a fragrance, a whiff of attraction for Krishna. Even at the very beginning. And that whiff gradually becomes stronger and stronger as you progress to the various stages of bhakti. So when we read that the devotee's heart becomes almost completely cleansed, it means that even in the stage of bhava, there's a little something. But if you are fixed in the practice of bhakti yoga, even that little something will not cause you to tumble. So this is how to be happy. The question we should ask ourselves is, how can I be happy having these impurities in the heart? That's honesty. That is self-honesty. But we tell ourselves, yeah, right, but I got to do these things. I got to try to be materially happy while chanting Hare Krishna. You can do that in the beginning, but if you don't make progress in weeding the garden, you'll wonder where your taste has gone. Just like in the material world, there's so many songs. Where did the love go? So often amongst devotees, the question is, where did the taste go? So it takes some effort to weed your garden. To watch out for, that's not a bhakti lata, that's not a creeper of devotional service, that's something else. Where did that desire come from? You got to keep your eye on the situation. And that's how to be happy. a weed-free garden with the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of Bhakti growing. The Bhakti Lata means devotional service. Don't ever let it happen to you that you start reducing your service till gradually it's just practically nothing. Pray that that never happens to you. Sometimes circumstances can be overpowering temporarily. Illness, economics, but always have this, even if it's a desperation, always have this desire. I've got to engage in devotional service. Your friends, your family, your spouse ask you, what's wrong, dear? No devotional service. That's the reality. All the great acharyas strongly recommend that people be given a chance to hear about the Supreme Lord. Then success is assured. So in order for people to hear something about the Supreme Lord, we need speakers who will talk about Krishna Katha. Maybe just a few people come, but that has to go on. The more we cleanse the dirt of material attachment from our hearts, the more we will be attracted by Krishna's name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and activities. This is the sum and substance of the Krishna consciousness movement. All right, any questions?